Hello and welcome to a roundtable live from IBC 2018 here in Amsterdam. My name is Patrick Palmer. I'm the Principal Product Manager at Adobe for Editing, and I've got a wonderful group of people here with me, and we'll be discussing, let me read that title correctly, Cinematic Results at Record Speeds. And that's going to be interesting, I'm sure. I've got Lisa-Marie Gotsche from ORF. She's an editor.
Hi.
Hello and welcome. We have Alex Macleod, and my notes tell me, and I will read that out because I think it's true, a brilliant trainer, consultant, and former BBC. How can you do all those three things?
Somehow I can manage it, apparently.
Then we've got Thomas Bergmann from Silbersalz in Stuttgart, which happens to be my hometown, and we have to make sure we're not going to go there too quickly. Welcome.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for joining us. And Rafael Gala from TVI Portugal, and he's a technical lead there. Correct title, if I'm not wrong, Head of Broadcast IT. We'll have to define that for our audience, what exactly that means. That seems broad. Before we go there, let's actually play some reels. We have reels from at least 3 of you that I think we should roll for our audience so they get an idea what kind of work you're involved with. And then we'll get a little deeper into how that relates to the topic of conversation, the cinematic results at record speeds. Woohoo! That was yours, Rafael.
Yeah.
Want to tell us a little bit about it, the general setup, what this refers to in terms of production value, all the things that our audience needs to know about your your line of work.
So TVI is one of the 2 private broadcasters in Portugal. We are absolute audience leaders for 13 years now. So we try to give our audience the best content we can possibly can. Today, we strongly believe in linear TV. We still think there's a lot of space to grow on that linear market. We are trying as a media group to get on social media, on OTT platforms, so we are also doing a lot of effort there. But we still believe that for us, for the Portuguese market, it makes a lot of sense to give premium content to our viewers when they are watching linear TV. So it's a way to bring back people to watch TV as we would
the traditional sort of way to watch TV.
Yeah. So we still believe that TV has a lot to give.
Yeah.
So we are not just we're not just betting on online.
Mm-hmm.
We are still doing a lot of effort to bring the best content we can possibly produce and to our viewers, because we do respect them a lot. So they have been very faithful to us from the last years. So
fantastic.
That's the kind of work that we are trying to get to our 24-hour news channel, to our other channels that we have.
So it's really diverse type of content.
Yeah.
It's rich production in all kinds of areas, really.
Yeah, yeah. So we work for online, for linear TV. We have specific things that are being done just for our 24-hour new channel. We have sports, we have entertainment, we have soap operas, so we have a lot of things, and we are trying to do all those things in a way that can appeal to our viewers. So that's a constant challenge for us. So
it'll be interesting once we get to the part of the record speeds, how that's achievable in today's world at cost. Can we roll Thomas' reel, please, and see that next? Nice and very upbeat, nice. And I hope you don't hate me for saying that. So not Stuttgart. How come, fine. Seriously, I got to start that with a question. How come that you're producing this kind of quality? And I'm fairly proud of saying that we were able to license this footage for our demos here at IBC. I've been blown away with the fact that you can basically travel around the world with basically nothing in your backpack, bare bones, get this kind of quality, and that probably will relate mostly more to the cinematic part than the speed part, but tell us a bit more about how that all came about for you in a place where, safe to say, media production isn't necessarily at the heart of the industry in that town.
No, it isn't, you're right. I mean, we know how to build cars in Stuttgart, but not films. Basically, you're right there. I mean, we are a group of young people that found together and formed a company, a commercial agency, a commercial film production. And this was part of a client project of ours, and there will be a Dreamers short film in short time. And yeah, it took us like 3 weeks to travel around the world and come up with this shots. And
so it still is in no time.
Yes.
It's unbelievable.
We love traveling. We love flexible, fast, high quality shooting, and we love to feel the weight of our Alexa in our backpack, and we love traveling and see the world, and this is what we do for lots of our clients. So, I mean, this tells a little bit of our style, what we like.
It's beautiful, really nicely shot, really nice.
Thank you.
So principal camera, the Alexa the whole time, right?
Yes, yes.
Finished in Premiere Pro as well? Or?
Definitely, yes.
Nice.
And I'm curious to talk about the color correction part in this for sure. We'll come back to that. Alex, let's see your work. That is properly amazing as well. So I got to ask you a question as well. If that's the kind of material you do, and I understand that you shot most of what we've just seen,
quite
how
a lot
come
of it,
you're
yeah.
also a trainer?
It's one of the things with my perspective as a person who freelances is the ability to actually go out and get the content that works and looks nice helps with the ability to train. So I can put trainees in a position where I can say like, okay, so I did this thing, we shot this content, and these are the processes that I went through to make it look how it looks. And it's a lot of the stuff that I've done. So if you see some Manchester United stuff, I actually, when they decided a little while ago to go to Premiere Pro from Final Cut Pro 7, it was me that did all the training. So off the back of that, they said, do you do any freelance editing as well? And I went, well, yeah, maybe. And it's nice because you go to organisations and you do the training, and very often they need freelancers as well. And if you know the software quite well, it's useful for you to be there because you can help.
It's your main benefit that you know not only the workflows, but also when there is none, the workaround.
Yeah, I mean, most definitely that, yeah. The ability to sort of look at a situation and go, okay, that's not working quite well, so there's different ways. And the presentation I'm going to do tomorrow is a lot about sort of looking at the bigger picture and taking the different assets, and that's sort of what I'm quite good at, to be able to quickly figure out what the problems are and how to fix them. Because I'm a self-shooter and an editor, and so I sort of know the whole side of it.
I can totally relate to that, and from my perspective, it's easy enough with applications that are highly customizable, and certainly Premiere Pro at the heart of this is a very customizable product, which is great if you know what you want from that, but it can be overwhelming if you don't. Completely. So I appreciate your perspective, bringing that together with real-world production value and teaching others how to actually get the most out of it.
Yeah, I'm a Sony FS7 owner, but I frequently hire different cameras for different purposes. So if as an owner, I can quote for a job with that in mind, But if the requirements are sort of greater, then it will be an Alexa or something similar. So it just depends sort of what the client's after, and you just got to be a bit free about it.
I would now love to say, let's roll your tape. We can't say because there is none. Really, actually, it's interesting. We're using these analog terms. We might want to talk about that, but
it was not because I was lazy, but actually I'm really not allowed to show it online because it's not my material. I didn't generate it because I'm working for them.
Safe to say, for people who can watch ORF, there's quite a bit that they could watch that's been created by you. So as we can't see any reel, tell us a bit about your line of work.
Okay, well, I'm working for the ORF, which is the Austrian broadcasting station. It's similar to the BBC or like there anywhere in Europe. We are the biggest TV station of Austria, obviously. We have 3 different channels plus a sports channel and whatever big online platform. But I'm working for ORF1, which is like the mostly entertainment station. But we do have news, and as we have editorial staff focusing on people watching entertainment, we try to take them from there. So we really try to focus on having like nicely made, stylish appeal, entertainment news, not entertainment, but strictly information news, focusing on younger audiences. I'm working at the news department. Yeah. So
we want to come to that perspective of combining the conversation about how to create something that looks cinematic, and at the same time, you're going to do it at the speed that's required to deliver. With news, no questions asked, probably it's old news so quickly that you usually wouldn't want to do any color correction, even if it's just about something rather simple like creating continuity or, dealing with an issue that's been there with the recording you've been handed. So how do those two things come together? And is it even an ambition of yours to say it's got to have a certain style, a certain look when you are under pressure to deliver?
Of course, it always depends on the format which you're working for. Like for example, we have some straight news shows where you don't need to add any kind of cinematic look to it. It would be very strange for people who watch it.
Probably would be confusing.
It would be, but of course you need to fix many things because we get material from the agency, so we get very quickly made material coming on a daily basis. You don't really have much time, but of course you really want to get that white balance right and stuff like that. So that's what we do frequently. We do have a daily show which is airing every day, which is like 15 minutes long or something, where we can play with all that, where we do play music, where we do have a style and a certain look for the pics we make. So that's the moment where we can handle the colors. Yeah.
Excellent. I'm going to have a question for all of you, and whoever talks first comes first. And I hope you all will give us your perspective on it. I tend to think that if you look 1 year back, it seems like nothing has really changed. If you look 3 years back, you'll find some things that are noticeably different. If you take a 7-year perspective, then it's all of a sudden like, really? That's what we've been doing 7 years ago? So if you dial back the clock, IBC 2011, and if you think what happened there and what you started thinking about what you want to do moving forward to gain speed, but also to get something that looks cinematic, what would you describe as something that changed your mind on something, or that you would describe as a game changer for the work you do?
I'm trying to think when the Canon 5D came out. Being able to switch lenses, that was sort of the thing where it all changed, really, because as a person who used to shoot corporate commercial type stuff, I was using an EX1, which is a fixed lens camera, fairly small sensor, and that was great, and we were getting good pictures, but as soon as it was the ability to take off the lens and sort of get the depth of field tiny, that's what everyone was trying to do, and I think that really was a sort of a change.
7 years ago, with what you've been doing then, I would guess that most people have done 16mm in a lot of departments, or tiny sensors.
Yeah, of
for
course.
TV,
yeah. But just the ability to just, and also a large format sensor is a really, and then you start talking about being able to sort of shoot, neutral, and then sort of, really do your own thing with the color.
Lisa?
But I have no idea when the 7D came, 5D came.
Yeah, no, okay, from an editor's perspective, I have to say, of course, the Lumetri function and the Lumetri panel.
You have no idea how happy you're making me right now.
I just think of what could he possibly want to hear about it. The thing is really, and that's what I wanted to say before as well. I do have some scenes in my mind. It's so bad I cannot show them. But for example, we do have a section where we talk about culture or cultural news, such as movies or music. And there, of course, all the clips which you show are like really nicely made. Of course, it's movies. Of course, it's music videos. And then you have that TV camera and the person coming there. And before we worked with Adobe Premiere, it was always like kind of playing around, like adding a vignette was always very hard. Like getting the right colors was very hard. Now it's crazy easy for us to apply a look because you have all the lookup tables, like the look tables. Where you can just like choose from, and sometimes I feel like a kid playing with the colors because I really like the good saturation. Yeah. Sometimes I tend to make it too saturated.
Push it too far and then dial it back a little bit. Yeah.
And then also to go the other way around, so it's really easy to apply a certain look. And going back to being fast, it's really good to have that balance. You have the pressure on your mind, but at the same time, it's gonna be a good outcome. Yeah, I like it very much.
Thomas. I would agree. I think it's Lumetri, and
you have to have a different pick, Thomas. Come on, give us something else.
But if I remember, like 7 years ago, basically we had this clear distinction between offline and online, and these days our clients do not accept that they cannot change audio and sound and mix and look and edit at the same time at the very last moment in the process, because they tell us we can do it on our phone. Why are you not able to change the colors? And they don't understand that all this is 4K and lots of quality, but they really push us forward, and the tools are capable of doing this. This is great fun.
It's also very nice to hear it from the other perspectives, because when you say the Canon 5D, then of course I think of all my friends who are filmmakers, and I envy them for being able to produce those kind of pictures. But of course, when you're just in the editing room, like really thinking back, 2011, there was a long time when really nothing happened. long time when nothing changed about the process, how you come to your outcome.
Yeah.
And now it's really a very different kind of thing.
So fast it's changed. Yeah.
Rafael,
For us,
I will set you up for something before you say the same thing as these two.
Sure.
And I would expect for you to have a different answer for a reason. As you're helping creatives be productive, and as you're not in the editing seat yourself, it must be something in the infrastructure, right?
Yeah, sure. So technology changed a lot from, if we see it 7 years, so if we look in perspective, everything changed. So today we are able to use new cameras. Streaming services changed everything. So now it's all about content. It's not about the platform. So we wanted to do things. We are able to iterate at a faster pace. We can be more creative. We can have teams working in a different way. So our graphics teams can create content that is specifically tailored for a new story that we are doing, and it's easy to send content from editorial to graphics, from graphics to audio if there's some need to put an audio track there. So we are working more tightly together as a team of creatives, and from my perspective, I'm trying to get all the roadblocks fixed while we are trying to be creative, because it's all about creativity. And from my side, what I see is that today we have so many tools that we can use, and they are excellent, but for each problem we have, we are throwing a new tool to the problem. So when you want to start to do something great, you have to deal with so many things that you lose so much time, and you are not focused on what you are about to do. So I see our work internally as being able to move those roadblocks and allow creativity to flow. And in the end, that's what our viewers want to see, is just great content. And we have to do it, that work, in a daily basis, because the landscape is changing every day at a faster pace.
You could argue that with so many changes, and with arguably, you're pointing towards something that I want to explore for a bit, with added complexity almost every day, I dare to say, at least, let's be real, every quarter. Isn't it overwhelming in the creative process? You're saying you want to enable the creatives to be that, creative, but at the same time, if there's so much change, isn't that in the way for being able to do that, as you're basically just looking after all those moving parts, bits and pieces? How can you bring those two really together?
So definitely. So what we try to do is to work close with the creative teams, understand their problems, understand that they need the tools to do their work, and they need to access the tools that they think will enhance content. And I think from my perspective is, how can we bring those tools into our pipeline in the easiest way possible. So, and we are trying to, instead of finding like a set of small things that could fix small issues, we are trying to see the big picture. How can we enable a post workflow that's seamlessly between everyone? Because this is a collaborative thing. This is not just about editing. This is not just about color. This is not just about audio. So everyone has to work. And if you can be able to put all those teams working together, great things will come out of it. So that's my main focus, is to allow everyone inside our company to do the best work without roadblocks.
Ooh, I want to hire you now. Thomas, I'm going to shift. Oh, please, go for it.
I have something different in my mind. I think what happened during the last 7 to 10 years, I think we really live in great times when it comes to delivery. I mean, I can sit in the back of a cab, and render a delivery for a cinema screen, or I can run my Google YouTube campaign and really run a campaign with video content. And this is really, for young companies like us, it's really exciting times. And 10 years ago, it was like always you have to go to a different company, and I think the boundaries are really like falling, and this is great fun.
How are all of you looking at collaboration? And I'll keep this broad. Let's not talk about specific products or services or anything like that.
Yeah.
You're pointing out that you could be pretty much anywhere you'd want to be and still be productive.
Yeah.
Would you also say that you're able to be connected with your coworkers in a meaningful way?
Definitely, yes. I mean, this changed in the last 10 years as well. I mean, basically we all collaborate, everything is in the cloud, even within the company, everything is...
Define everything. I think some people are still very much afraid of anything that isn't just in their very own hands. How do you actually manage that?
Yeah, I will mention a name. Basically, we own Dropbox, and we own a giant Dropbox, and basically.
How do you own Dropbox?
Dropbox.
Yeah, we are in a giant Dropbox. We live in a giant Dropbox, and basically all the online, offline media files, audio, graphics, production, photo, everything is synced. So we don't. Have a central server.
Do you do it for cost efficiency, or do you do this because it enables the collaboration?
I'd love to wake up and decide to go into a cafe and start editing. And this is true. I mean, this is this is how my life is like. I can just sync this clip, sync this project, and start editing and start working, because I mean, our reality is so fast-paced that we have to react very, very quickly, and I can sync and go back into a project from 2 years ago and keep on editing where I left.
How strange does that sound to you, as you're pretty much in a building that has very thick 4 walls?
Yeah, it's even it's the funniest thing about it is a bit off topic, but I don't have reception on my mobile. Working at the broadcasting station, it's very strange, because actually, like, you should be there every day, but nobody can reach you because, yeah, the walls are too big. But it's so crazy to hear. Sometimes I get envious about these kinds of situations, because I'm working there in one of several rooms, where we have a lot, and talking collaboration. Like, we are some kind of isolated, of course, because we are the editors. So the journalists, they come to us for editing. We know each other very well, like sometimes too well when you're editing in a long project. But then other people don't know you at all. So you're going through this huge building, and you know, like, those guys and those guys, you saw them on the set, but they never really even come to you. So you are some kind of isolated. On the other hand, like, sometimes I would also like to just take it up, because outside it's such a beautiful summer day. So let's just edit outside. Would it be nice? But on the other hand, like, we do have a very good network of people working together. So everything is all set. So we manage all our codecs before they come into the editing room. Every time I have one problem, like, I do have a person, like a Google person, kind of. When I do have any kind of technical difficulties, I can call them. And if he has no answer, he will call another. Like, sometimes I even have the scenario of suddenly 4 people standing inside my room, but everybody tries their best to make it work, because it has to be on air at nighttime. So then we work. Yeah, I really like those guys. Like, they are really, really helpful. And actually, they also helped to implement the new program and Premiere to our workspace, and they really do their best to keep everything running every day. So that's why we collaborate, on the other hand, like, very, very tightly together. I really like it.
Alex, I imagine with so many people that you work with any given week of the year, you must have a different perspective on that altogether. Wouldn't you want to be just in one place and, you know, have it like in the old days?
On topic, from a freelancer's point of view, if you're sort of traveling around shooting stuff and it's super high resolution, and you're not necessarily cutting on something that's going to be able to cut that sort of codecs. One of the things I liked about the most recent versions was the ability to transcode to proxy and cut, and then sort of relink to the original and then publish that. And that's something that I've done quite a lot. So, I mean, we've been in the field cutting from the card. We've transcoded to proxy, depending on what the camera is, but let's say maybe a red or something similar. And we've actually used the proxies to do the edit and then publish. And it's still sort of a local thing, but the ability to actually work on material that's that high resolution in situ, and, you know, throw a grade on it or a LUT and just sort of publish it within an hour of having filmed it is very, very liberating, and still maintain the final resolution of the image. It's really, it's a nice thing to be able to do.
It's another thing that really has radically changed, and you're pointing out something where I think we had a bit of a learning curve. Proxies weren't part of a Premiere Pro workflow for a very long time, as we've been fairly proud of being able to say we can read it all, and usually at good speed. Now all of a sudden resolution went up, complexities around those formats went kind of bananas, quite frankly. You all mentioned different cameras already, and that's kind of part of the game, which is when we started to look at, this is interestingly a connection to the past in a way, proxies. Yeah, we said we're going to make them superfluous, ridiculous, what have you, and then all of a sudden it turned out, but it was actually a really nice workflow. So can we do it again? And then it came into the product, and that leads to my next question. Is there something in the modern world, we just talked about the benefits here, and I think we all feel kind of upbeat that right now is a great time to be in this industry, right? There's so much good stuff happening, and there's more to come. But from the things that you still do today, is there something, I'm going to start with you, Lisa, is there something where you'd say, okay, this is how I got started, and I haven't changed because this is still a thing that I would recommend to everyone you should keep doing, even though it seems old-fashioned?
Oh, wow. Well, sometimes I feel old-fashioned because I'm working at the TV station, still producing not a VR video.
Would you want to?
Well, maybe, of course, times are changing. So also like here, the visit on the IBC gets me lots and lots of input, how to deal differently with pictures. So I don't have an answer for you. When I hear your question, then I get a little bit like, memorizing the past where I used to work with tapes and all that. So there are, of course, some kind of workflows which you will always have from back in the days. But now is really the time to, okay, let's go back to school and learn something. I don't know, let's go get some other tutorials because now is the time for input and to break those old workflows for me.
From my perspective, one of the things that I used to have to do was when I shoot, we'd shoot mini DV and you'd have to time code. So you'd sit through and you'd go, right, shot, 3 minutes 10 is GV of XYZ, and so we'd do that, and we'd have almost an EDL of material that you capture. So most of the things on the tapes don't get captured. So those are already thrown away. When you file-based stuff, it's all there, so there might be tons and tons and tons of what you might call junk. But actually, I will still go through and I will load a clip into the source monitor and I will make sure that I've got all the usable bits and I will put that onto an assembly, a sequence which is specific for assembly. And I will go through and just make sure that you're not missing anything, because you might, in a rush, miss the shot that makes the sequence, So I will still go through that process. And it's really about a selection process that in a file-based world isn't necessarily something that people do anymore, but I think it's absolutely essential.
Bin naming, file naming, structure, how to structure a project, how to approach this vast amount of footage and how to find these bits and pieces. I think the craft of editing did not change at all. And all this collaboration, the truth about collaboration is sometimes it is great to switch it off, to keep the door closed and to just focus on what you do. And it would be a nightmare if my colleagues could see my screen. And I mean, for example, when I write texts, I would never write it in Dropbox. I finish it and then I upload it. It's just a thing in my mind. But I think the craft of editing did not change at all.
Rafael.
So I would say that for us, I remember a couple of years ago, we had to do in our workflows and mainly for graphics. I remember a journalist would ask something to our graphic department and they will put it up on After Effects. They would do the best thing they could possibly do. They would have to render, they would have to import files into Premiere, they will have to put it as video and keys if everything is okay. No, you misspelled something, so you have to go all over again. So I would say that for us, we still do render a lot of stuff, but something that completely changed the way we work today, and I think it's a huge plus, it's essential graphics. So for us, it was a complete game changer. So I think that if you see it a couple of years from now, you will see that we would consider doing graphics in post-production as a natural thing. So someone could produce something really good and allow you to change.
Yeah.
And I think that's completely game changer for all of us. So we are on the broadcast business, so we are very traditional. But I think that's a enabler. So today you do expect to see great image quality, but also great graphics. Yeah. So I think that for us,
huge part of it. We used to hear from famous directors that great sound is half the picture.
Yeah.
I would agree with you that great graphics are more and more in that category as well.
Yeah.
But that leads actually to, we need to come back to this cinematic piece.
Sure.
Because to me that actually has various meanings. There's a reason why we have you in that category, even though you're not even producing anything for theaters. It's not cinematic in that sense. But to me, it's actually a great description for punching above your weight, as one of my friends has said so well. Punching above your weight. The wonderful Bronwyn Lewis said that. And what she meant with it is she herself actually wasn't necessarily capable of doing a lot of stuff with graphics, but with the motion graphics templates, you could actually, once you know what you want them for, do something that looks really magic, well above what you would do yourself. So I'm picking up what you already mentioned, but what I want to hear from you is find other examples in the category of cinematic, not necessarily as I'll put it into a theater, but it represents the ultimate quality that I would not have dreamed of. Don't use the 7 years, whenever in the past. Is there something today in the things that you do where you would say just a couple of years back, would not have dreamed of doing that?
It is when you have in the editing room the possibility to real-time playback, then it opens up the door for any more thing. Like I said in the very first statement which I made, it's like it feels like a playground. Like before, it was always okay. You want that look. Let me check, and then you have one picture, and the rest of the timeline is red, and then you have to render it in order to see it. Like maybe for 2 seconds only. Yeah, you get the image. Okay, it's not really working fine. And now it feels like okay, you add this filter, you add this look, and you really get to do like the nice work. Yeah, that's what I like.
I think that's something that being able to create in real time, it's something that unblocks your creativity, because you are not waiting for something to just show on the screen. You are thinking, you are having ideas, and you are seeing the end result. So I think that's game changer.
You can try it. If it doesn't work,
let's try another approach.
Whereas back in the day, you'd be like, I've got this idea, maybe I'll try it, but I've got to wait 15 minutes.
And then it will half a day.
Necessarily, yeah, precisely. I mean,
because it's not dependent on your...
Yeah, you have to wait forever for it to... So you can be a lot more creatively free, because you don't have to wait for so long.
I do have it in the editing room lots of time that I don't even tell the person, my coworker, I don't even tell what I have in mind. And mostly when they know me, they trust me. So they never ask, and just like 5 to 10 minutes later, I show them, and then it's like, okay, perfect. And then you take another time, and really the difference is just huge when you just go into that color schemes way and look where you're going, look where you want to go. And mostly it's like when you take one step and then you see what kind of look feels right to a picture. I don't know. Like mostly, yeah.
If you add one thing to it, and I'm sure besides the fact that this is a state broadcast organization, all of you around the globe do one thing now. You have an extension to online content. There is a social perspective to what you do, if nothing else, for promos. So we're trying to coin the phrase here, content velocity, and if we didn't coin it, then at least we're trying to use it in a good way. But I think I need to explain what we think it is. We're looking at ways of letting you produce something the way it's intended to be seen, at the best quality there is, with all the goodies that we just talked about, but then giving you a perspective towards having that on other platforms. And I think if you look, again, not about Premiere or Adobe in general, just look at the wider landscape there for you. I'd like to know two things, actually. Is that something that you think is exciting because it extends your perspective on the content that you're working with? And is it something that is actually productive for you? Is that something that's already working?
It is on the one hand. On the other hand, for this company, like for ORF, for our broadcaster, it's more than challenging because you are a public broadcasting station and suddenly the law comes and says, well, you cannot publish there on social media just like this. So very, very quickly you come into a very structural thing where as a creative person, as a creative team, as editors or as a content producer, we would say like, yeah, okay, let's focus on that platform and make it like this. And we do have corners, for example, we do have a mobile page called Mainz M1, where they really try to do that and deliver that. But it's a very small corner, and they already had like 2 times they were almost turned down because, yeah, we do have like legal boundaries to our creativity. That's
so
one
that
thing.
makes it a lot more apparent, this need to deliver super fast with quality into so many channels.
Yeah, so that's what we do. We deliver fast, we deliver fastly, but with all this outlook to the future, I think personally that we do have boundaries. Yeah, we do have strong boundaries. Yeah.
I dislike the term content.
Okay, let's go there. Why?
So what we do is we do films, and we love doing films, and we like to call them films. And all these new places where to present film, this is amazing. I mean, all the social media, all these channels you can bring film in, it's amazing, but I think film and cinema is more than just content. It's just, I mean, content is it's so cold, the term. I think it's such a great, there are such great places out there to bring emotions, to touch people, to talk stories to people. And I mean, this is, for us, it's exciting times. And we even started to think about these channels. We start to talk about to our clients about these channels, to start to talk about our clients about where to show the film. I mean, this is, for us as a production company, it's new. So to start thinking, okay, this could live on YouTube, this could live on Facebook, wherever. I mean, this is, for us, it's exciting. But content, the word is, I mean, this is part of the problem as well. Because, I mean,
it's too anonymous for you. I can tell that you have a relationship with films.
Yeah, I mean, these days video is everywhere.
Yeah.
And I think the challenge for us as filmmakers and as creators is to stick, to be above the line, to look better than what my grandma does on her smartphone.
That's a wonderful opportunity for me to give you one last challenge. As unfortunately we're at time, but I gotta know. We're really big on the machine learning, artificial intelligence technology that in our context we call Adobe Sensei. Yeah. And we've given examples in the products as to where that could lead towards. Mostly you'll see us do things where you actually increase your productivity by taking tedious work out of the process, giving you results you can still change. But the more we talk about it, the more I notice that people have mixed feelings about machines very much in general. I'm going to leave it at that. I don't want to lead towards answers, but with what you've seen and what you expect from us in that area, is that something that excites you? Is that something where you see benefit using these machine learning technologies in the video industry? Who wants to go first?
It can be exciting, but it's also a bit sort of scary because it's like, the way things are going, more and more jobs are going to be maybe not replaced, but helped by robots and stuff. So I think if you can use your imagination and use it as a force for good, then yeah, definitely. But it's got to be careful with it. I think it's got a scary future.
I think. Sorry, I think that humans relate to content that is created by humans. And I think that's the key thing. From my perspective, AI would be, in our industry, a huge helper. So it will allow us to iterate faster. It would allow us, in the end, to be more creative. But I think, and I don't know if you agree, but I will go back to what I said first. So humans relate to human content. So we have a deep link between what is being done by a machine and what is being done by a human. So we are dealing with emotions, and I think we are far away from having emotions in artificial intelligence. So I think it's all about storytelling. And
you're skeptical.
I could imagine AI as a perfect assistant editor. So all this, I mean, if the machine would understand language, understand the marks on the claps, if a machine could understand who's in frame at the moment, I mean, this would, I mean, being editor is, we do so...
You'd appreciate help, but you don't want anyone to do the work for you.
No, no, no. You will never be able to do what we do, I am afraid.
Lisa, I think you will have the famous last opinion on that one. Okay. Yes, the honor is on you.
Wow, no, it's a very philosophical question. I keep it with all that what you said. Like, I'm very much of your opinion. It's at the same time, it's like, yeah, but it's really scary, especially when you just put it on the larger scale and talk about AI and the future in general. Then this is a scary, like, very philosophical. Another round table kind of talk, maybe with the wrong people. Yes, maybe with the right people next year. But then on the other hand, what you say, for example, when the machine reads the time code or understands the texts and stuff like that, and helps you work really, really fast, face detection. This is all something which is not very far from the horizon. This is something which is all on the horizon, or even now reality of a day, but still it needs to be passed on to people like us to be implemented in everyday work, and to those kind of stuff I'm really looking forward. Yeah. And cool. Your last words to this, like the very, very last of all last words?
The last of the last.
And please, your personal opinion.
Oh, it has to be my personal opinion, but fortunately, I don't have to disagree with you. I've always been of the opinion that we need to harness the machines for stuff that's boring, and we have, actually well before machine learning. Pattern recognition has been something that we've done successfully for decades, but it's getting better and better. But I've also come to realize, especially with all the experiments on whatever people refer to when they say this is auto-editing, that I lose interest 3 seconds into that auto-edit, and it's for that reason. I think the creative perspective, how can you teach the machine what is something that wasn't there yet? We're looking at things that are already there in all of the big data game, which is what machine learning is based upon largely. So you have that problem. I'm asking you to do something new based on something that wasn't there. Yeah. And that's why you're right. The emotional quality, you will bring that because you feel it and you want someone else to participate and feel it too. So I feel very good about it because I think the tedious part, there is lots more for us to provide you with over the next couple of years, and we'll be busy with that. I really wanted to thank you all for coming here today. Thank you for watching. I hope you got something out of this session. As you might have noticed from me, this was super joyful. So thanks again. And if you happen to come to IBC in the next coming days, we're still here until Tuesday, then by all means, please come and find us in Hall 7. We have lots of engineers, yes, I kid you not, engineers, quality engineers, product managers, lots of Adobe people who really would want to talk to you, get your opinion, get your feedback. If you have a problem that you'd want to discuss, we're here. Obviously, we're also showing everything that's new, which if you don't come here, you can certainly find from adobe.com. Thank you very much, and that concludes our roundtable.